How wonderful to see you all. I should really quit. We should define some terms here, then maybe you get a little story. So, from the New Century Dictionary of English, quote, fear. 1. Any of the discrete parts of the face, as in the eyes, or mouth, or eyes. 2. The capital of Lower Meersham, in the north-central southeast corner, population 8,000,001, approximately. 3. Fear. 4. C3. 5. There is no 7. Colloquial, archaic, a noun, or a verb, depends. End quote. Hey, look at that. Felicific, causing or intending to cause happiness. Felicific. Huh. Anyway, now, I guess we begin. Do you like magic? I don't. Enough about me. Let's get to the story. Do you want a story? Do you need to see me to hear me? If so, sorry. I'm afraid you'll laugh at my native costume. Promise you won't laugh. I know you won't, friends. I trust you. But not because you promised. You'll see me soon enough, I suspect. But not yet. And yet, there are some things that are not really ours to decide. The shape of the face, say, or whether we're forgiven. How tall we are. Where to die, and when. I'll wait for the laughter to die down. Still sensing some laughter. There. Wait. Now, there. So, our story. Now, look, don't make it hard on yourselves. Don't be troubled by anything you might find obscure, hard, troublous. Just remember this simple picture before you. This, a little boy in a cowboy suit, riding in a puddle with a stick, a dog approaching. Deaf or dumb the boy is, or like anyone, a little timid, partly stupid, ashamed, afraid, like us, like you. Our little boy is wearing shoes, no socks, shorts, no cowboy boots. He is there, dreaming of this real life right here. Picture the boy. A terrible storm has just ended. A cloud overhead, a little rumble. The boy writes his watery lines. Now see his eyes. Now sympathize with his little clothes. Now break his arm. Give him an injury. Some problem with his hip so he stands funny. Can't walk real good. Now picture that the stick he is holding is a violin bow. Picture a violin section. Picture every living person as a member of a violin section. We hold the bow above the strings ready to play. Picture a bird settling on a branch. The violins are on fire. Feel the world inhale. Picture the readiness, the stillness, the virtuosity. Among this, the child. Picture ash blowing across a newly blue sky. Now go fuck yourselves. Picture, I don't know, a bird. Or the kid, the child. I don't know, picture whatever you want. You're free, at least to this little extent, yes? Who knows? Not me. You know who I suddenly don't need? Anyone? Yeah, no, me neither. No bother. Or, to employ the popular phrase we use nowadays to express our brainless and simpering tolerance of everything, the breakdown of distinction, our fading national soul, whatever. I'm like, whatever. I really am like, whatever. Does it scare you to be face to face with the modern mind? It should. There is no reason for you to not be afraid. None. Or, I don't know. Shall I save your life? Shall I love you slowly and be true? Shall I stroke your cheek gently, almost not at all, and bring you a glass of cold water in the restless, humid night? Whatever. Meanwhile, we were speaking of the infant, the cowboy-suited child making his way in the business world. A tale for the ages. A flowery unfolding that will leave you yearning for that old yearning that... Goodbye! Au revoir, cunt. Pardon my French. Now, I'm like him. I strike people as a person who just left. But our little performance, our little turn on the themes of fear, boyhood, nature, hate, the nature of performance and vice versa, the heart of man, of woman, etc. You know, you might have been better off if you'd gone with your heart and left. Like our friend, now departed, who just left with his heart and the rest of his organs. I don't know. This was an aside. Pretend I didn't say anything. Don't picture a pink elephant. Yes, our little story. The little boy in the cowboy suit. Did I say he had a cowboy suit? It's not important. Did I say he had a heart and body full of bleeding wonder and love? Not important. Either way, our little man, before the puddle, in the quiet, right after the storm. There is a little thunder, but no more rain. Not unimportantly, the sky is all blue. Blue skies for Child Harold, whose name is not Harold. Trees are down, branches everywhere. The boy's beloved dog jogs toward him, daintily avoiding other yet-to-be-written-in puddles. She's been making her rounds, pawing around the bases of trees and sniffing butterflies drying themselves in the breeze. The dog. Long story short, boy loves dog, dog loves boy, no question, no amendment, no need to revise. The dog came closer, stopped to scratch. Then she lowered her head to lap water from the puddle and was, boom, electrocuted. A power line had come down and was laying frayed in the water. She was thrown some distance like some poorly thought-out bird. Her eyes were burned open, smoking. She was dead instantly. Veterinarians and electrical engineers would later agree. Poor dog. The boy laughed and wrote maniacally into a puddle. We don't know why. Trust me that this happened, and it happened like this. He went over to her, knelt down by her. He opened the jaws and tried to put his ear in her mouth. The dog had white markings above her paws. He patted it. Oh, the clear blue sky, the whitish backs of leaves in the breeze, the feeling of the world renewed, but still the same. The boy yawned. A car came by, slowed, passed. An everyday moment. The boy swallowed. He lived. Any questions? I have one. When did your childhood end? How badly did you get hurt when you did? When you were this little hurtable thing? Nothing but big eyes, a heart, a few hundred words. God, isn't it wonderful how we never recover? Injuries and wounds, ladies and gents, slights and abuses. What a paradise. Living in fear, suiting the hurt to our own need. I'm serious. I'm serious. What a happy life. What a good game. Who can stand the most life, and still smile, still grin into the coming night, saying, more, encore, encore, you fuckers, you fates, just give me more of the bloody, bloody same. Or, I don't know, what do I know? People ask me about the name, Thom Pain, and I don't answer. Or I say, it's been in the family for a while. Or I say, Child Harold, for no reason. Then one of us walks away. Anyway, the boy laid down behind the dog, holding her. He closed his own eyes with his fingers. The boy lay in a puddle behind his former dog, whispering, I do. I do. He came home. He came home later, without the dog or the stick. No one noticed him, the change in him. The boy got some scissors and cut his hair half off. He drew a simple bone on his stomach with some of his mother's lipstick. He tucked himself badly into bed. He sang a little song without tune or words. He lay there, awake, breathing too much, biting a crayon, trying to hold everything in. The boy smelled of dead, wet dog. His legs shook and he wet the bed. This all being an example of how some days can go, of actual life, of the close relations between man and animal. Now imagine a pink elephant. Now stop. Good. There. You, sir? There? Thank you. Now I think would be a good time for the raffle. I hope you held on to your tickets, on the back of which is a number. We've got some very nice prizes. All right. Are you ready? Okay. Here we go. Who's got the luck with him tonight? This will be fun. There's no raffle. Who said there was going to be a raffle? Other than me. The good news is you didn't lose. You lost nothing except the time it took to find this out, which is a pretty big chunk. You know, someday, some minute, you're going to have 30 seconds to live. Think of me and my little comic bit about the raffle. Think of me fucking around with your life. Try to smile. Trust me, there are people in this world who don't love you. Who don't love you enough to spit on your little hopes so as to leave you all alone, respectfully and truly alone with your larger ones, your larger hopes. Which are what? Sir, would you care to share? Care to share your larger hopes with us? No? Okay. Okay. I understand. Wouldn't want to jinx anything. Or have nothing to jinx. Or can't feel hope, or don't like sharing. Oh, the varieties of experience, huh? Now, look, feel free to feel anything. Religious ecstasy, anarchy, shivery physical things, nothing, blood, your neighbor, the stranger you married. What possibilities we all have here, huh? Ways and means to live in the world, die, cancer, for example, or depression, political intrigue, anxiety, insecurity, holes in your knowledge, spots on your lungs, total oblivion, more, financial crises, outer space, inner peace, shame, lust, me, hate, you, hate, words, love, nothing, more, migraine, you, God. The things you may be feeling. The list goes on. Then the list ends. If I were you, I'd be sick of this already. I'd feel restless. I'd feel like eating or urinating. Like going outside and being sick, laying in the grass or dirt and just holding myself. Or I'd want to buy a nice flower and stick it to some woman. Or I'd feel sorry for me, if I were you. I don't know, really. But again, feel whatever you'd like. As if you need me to tell you that. It's your life. Yes? What if you only had one day to live? What would you do? Well, that's easy, right? You'd be brave and true and reckless. You would love life and people with wild and new abandon if you only had a day. What if you only had 40 years? If you're like me, and no offense, but you probably are, you probably wouldn't do anything. It's sad, isn't it? The dead horse of a life we beat, all the wilder, all the harder, the deader it gets. On the other hand, there are some nice shops in the area. I bought a candle holder and a chair today. I lost the candle holder somewhere. You know what? That might be a good time for the raffle. I hope you held on to your tickets. We've got to... No. Wait. Where was I? God. I bought a candle holder and a chair. I lost the candle holder in somewhere. Okay, sorry. I bought a candle holder and... Well, while we're waiting. All right. Horse walks into a bar. Bartender says, "Why the long face?" The horse says, "Well, I just found out that I have AIDS, so I guess I'm feeling a little sorry for myself." And the bartender says, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." I forgot some part of it, but you get the idea. It's funny because it's true. What a nice crowd. I see no difference, really. In a world full of difference, sickening, disheartening difference, I see none. Between the you and the me. No, you all seem so wonderful, and I seem so wonderful, and so I make no distinction. I see no separation, no unbridgeable distance between us. Wonderful us. Or none worth remarking, since the thought of you disgusts me so much. The thought of you doesn't disgust me that much. In fact, you're all so wonderful, I'd like to take you home, leave you there, and then go somewhere else. No, seriously? The truth? Gosh, I don't care either way. That's not true. I do care, either way. I'm the type of person you might not hear from for some time, and then suddenly, one day, bang! You never hear from me again. We're all roughly like that, right? Roughly. Except you. You're different. You're lovely. God, I really love your difference. It's so wonderful and lovely and different. Hey, where are you from, I wonder? Or I did wonder 2 seconds ago. But that's over now. We're through. Sorry. See you around. You can throw away my things. I'd change the locks if I were you. Bye now. Reality is funny sometimes. Not to me. Let's talk a little about love. I see. Fine. I'll go first. Do you like magic? I do. It's fairly new, this love of mine, of magic. I made serious inroads with a woman once, doing card tricks with a deck that only had one card in it. Pick a card, I'd say. And she'd laugh, she'd lick her lips, and touch herself or me. Or maybe we'd laugh, maybe not. She wasn't from here, so I had to speak to her in the international language of love, English, to which she had very little to say. We got by pretty well, struggling for clothing and rent, trying to make the best of it despite every kind of sleeping, eating, and social disorder. Money was an object, I remember, a problem. We had bad shoes and teeth. In our poverty and hardship, we had some laughs. 2, possibly, maybe 3. We had an understanding, unknown to us both. We stayed up late together one night, fell asleep together later. We were pretty compatible, what with the dick and the cunt. Anyway, there we were, together, eating, sleeping, holding each other. You know, the jargon of romance is almost unbearably precise. Going steady, seeing each other, going out. It takes a serious dose of unsteadiness, vision loss, and a year of staying in to understand the beauty of those terms, the pain of those words. Anyway, this was us, a couple, partners, unapart. Whispers like you've never heard. You've changed, she said the night we met. She had watchful eyes, sober sometimes, a natural sort of animal guardedness, a doggy sort of way that I found very fetching. Sometimes you meet someone who you know right away is made up of trillions of different cells, and she was one of these. A quivering thing, a good vocabulary, nice legs, pretty eyes, the backside. Apologies for the dirty language, but it's all dirty language if you look at it right. As for our story, if you're lost at all, you're not alone. Look, don't think I'm somewhere up ahead, somewhere, anywhere, with a plan. I'm right here beside you, or hiding behind you, like you, in terrible pain, trying to make sense of my life. I'm just kidding. You probably are alone. Or I don't know. Where are we, exactly, I wonder, in your estimation, in mine? Well, Earth is always an answer. We're on planet Earth, a planet in a solar system, one of 1 trillion solar systems in our galaxy, which is one of 1 billion galaxies in the universe. And you think you're pretty special. Math. There's a lot of zeros out there. What can one man do? Nothing, really. Or, I don't know. I've been taking vitamin supplements. A, B, D, zinc. Wait, no, zinc is a mineral. You don't care. C, E, did I say B? I don't care. Do me a favor. If you have a home when you're home, later, avoiding your family, staring at the dog, and they ask you where you've been, please don't say that you were out somewhere watching someone being clever. Watching some smart-mouthed nobody work himself into some dumbass frenzy. Please say instead, when you don't say anything because nobody asked you, that you saw someone who was trying. I choose that word with care. I'm trying. I am a trying man. A feeling thing in a wordy body. Poor Tom's a trying. Poor Tom's a fucking cold. I assume you people have some experience with the Elizabethans. Some experience with cold, at least. Anyway. So, the child. No, the woman. Let me linger with my woman just a little longer. She still had her tonsils, her appendix, her wisdom teeth, all the useless extra things. This plus the holes in her body, in her childhood, the missing things, the blind spots, all together with the pluses and the minuses, a very complete woman. I loved her so much. She had every... Hey, could I get a little light over here? I loved her so much. She had everything. She had fleas, which I think I gave her, and the moles and birthmarks that she came up with on her own, a healthy give and take. We were very close. She felt wrongly that she could tell me anything. I still think of her in the evenings. Should I hear a plangent honking and raise my eyes to descry in the darkening sky a V of geese heading north or south, I take my pulse and remember this. Again, I have to say, I really love your individuality. It's all kindness and light and loyalty, or so I imagine. What are you doing later? After? I don't know where I'll be. Maybe down some alley, kicking pebbles and changing my mind. So, you know what? Maybe don't bother. Unless you'd like to. Get a drink? Should your bright and ladylike ways give way to those of a cold, repetitive, and drunken pig, don't worry, I will still love you, just not in any way that you can tell. Still, depending on the state of your life and its degradation at your own hands, I could be a good choice for you. Maybe I didn't have to say all that. Yeah, you know what? Forget I said anything. Forget I said or felt anything. So the woman of our story. No, let's fuck the woman for a little while. Ugh, if we could. Let me jump around here. Thanks. Let's get back to the inner child. The crippled kid with the electrocuted dog. Did I say his face was disfigured? Even if I hadn't, can you picture the face of a little boy without disfiguring it anyway? Can you picture anything without it getting jumpy and fuzzy? Can you picture even a simple square without it going sideways and wrong and triangular? Like that? I'm not sure you can. Anyway, let's forge ahead despite our obvious flaws. And I'm speaking to the obviously flawed among us. So the boy, becoming a man in the puddle. No, wait. We're further along than that. It's late. He comes home. Dark house, something is amiss. Some real thing is amiss. But who could put a finger on it? In it. Who could see it and state it plainly? The trouble in the bone-quiet nights in the tidy house on Garden Street. Having seen the boy, the only child, make his way from room to room, in search of anything to mother or sister him, I dare say no one. The personality forms in the dark. This is possibly a very good point. The worldview arises at night without witness. And this boy's did. As he grew, changed, away from people, in the bathroom, in the rain, down halls in everyday familial places. I dare say, no, I don't. I do know that they didn't pat his head. They didn't muss his hair and say, "Good boy." He comes and goes untouched, his childhood running out, as he becomes a foreigner, an immigrant to the place that he was born. I have that same shirt. That night, the night of the stormy day that was his dead dog's last, that night he had, with his brutal new haircut, a wet dream. Or a nocturnal emission, if you like. Who knows what he dreamt of? Some inscrutably human thing, no doubt. Something out of the vocabulary and wilderness of a little boy at night. Maybe of a woman bending over, eyes open, being nice, knees deep in muddy water. A rural, vulnerable thing, opening herself to the dreamer behind her, or maybe of some fuzzy, uneducated version of a girl. saying a word that he liked, voucher or ankles, whispering one of those funny little words that only refers to other words, something like such. Maybe he just felt some philosophic little twinge, a nice little physical feeling in the night, and came without language. His little bed and his little sheets with the airplanes on them, covered in semen and freshly, badly cut hair. What a mysterious scene. And somewhere in the same night, another youth bleeds between her legs, wondering what she's done wrong, wondering whom to tell. What a mystery. The onset of the breeding years. Growth. The cancers are almost all in place. Nature laughs last, ladies and gentlemen. Laughs hardest and best and last deep into the night at you. What a paradise, as I have said. What a surprise to have a body. Meaning, around the world, hardly anybody sleeps. How could they? Every night spent in the body is a fitful night, fighting gravity and losing, night after night, fighting everything. But, so that morning, the messy morning of the messy night, that morning on a walk through a meadow, the boy was attacked by bees. A nest had fallen onto the ground and he had kicked it by accident, his eyes shut against the sun or some other reason that he had. Is it clear that I love my subject and therefore I don't pry too much into his reasons, his empty head, his stupid little agenda on earth? Anyway, the bees, they swarmed into his eyes and his mouth, stung him on every skinny surface. The boy did not at first make a sound. The poor thing did not understand. He thought out in the meadow that he had done something wrong. He thought that the pain was already inside of his body and was only coming out now to punish him, and that the bees had only happened along later and were trying to help. His body was exploding in painful sores, which the bees were trying to salve, to soothe. This, according to him. He really didn't understand things. It's kind of beautiful, in a way. If you like that sort of thing, if you like the idea of a little boy rubbing stinging bees all over his bleeding body, desperately yelling, "Help me, bees, help!" and putting his little swollen hand into the hive for more. We've all made similar mistakes, right? Mistaking the bee for the flower, giving our heart away to the first prick or bitch to come down the trickling river. Anyway, the boy crawled enough away, almost died, lay there until evening, neither crying nor laughing, a thing in nature, in pain, among the crickets and the frogs. So that's the bee incident. I have an incredibly rich interior life. You really are forgiving to let me get lost like that? No one else lets me do anything. Everyone always has little tips about my soul, nitpicking about my psyche. Hey, why don't you get a haircut? Huh? Must you be exactly that tall? Maybe you should talk different. Why are you looking east? Don't stand so straight. Is that really how you eat oranges? Brush your teeth. Change. I hate how you breathe. So comparatively, you are a very nice group. So easygoing, watching so gently. Looking out at all of you, I am struck by a sort of... Is it Sarah? Is that really you? Mary? Anyway, next, I'm going to do this. Behold. Consider. Use your head and imagine that this is a brain, or the mind. There it is in the skull of a little boy in the womb, battleship gray and growing, folding over on itself, turning as he kicks his way into the world. It's amazing. A little boy learns to crawl, nerves firing, his mind relying on his hands and knees. A less little boy is introduced to a stranger. He's embarrassed, his brain sending blood to his face, his mind telling him, look down, little boy, hurt inside, be shy, and so on, until an old man sits in a chair, the hearing gone, the eyes gone, the body almost gone, but the brain is still going, insisting on itself, making itself heard, causing trouble. There, the brain, the mind, in a chair, in a field, under stars, in the bright sun of Egypt, Beantown, Whoville, all the while fighting, revising, planning its next defeat. Or a man stands before you, age unimportant, the mouth moving, big things going badly, but a million little things going right. The brain is doing its job. But the mind? Another story. It's a monster. They don't know, the doctors, the distinguished authors, but oh, the memory's up there. Her fine hand on your shoulder, on the steps of a museum, dog at play with a caterpillar, insomnia, nausea, ocean waves, rain, the taste of mascara, the feeling of night, how the world can sound. Such a feeling life, such sensation. Yes. Pile atop the words. Let them seep down. Think of it. The brain and the mind. Married, unmarried, happily or not. Imagine. Or just think about snot. Imagine that this is a handkerchief and I just blew my nose into it. So, to backtrack, you worry, you have anxiety, the blood vessels constrict, the handkerchief crumbles, it's a headache, a migraine, a blow to the head, now you try to live. It all seems so useless, so unusable. The house that you live in, the oceans, the mountains, the peacekeeping forces, the restaurants and anniversaries, the factories and gardens, useless. Fuck it! Kill it and burn it all down, you say, if you have a little headache. So maybe I just have a little headache. Maybe I was born with a little headache. Maybe this is all just a little wrong pressure somewhere. I'm speaking softly for a reason. Because I hope that you... I don't know. Let's go over the enormous and informative ground we've covered so far. We were talking, or I guess I was talking, about a little girl, or a little boy, I guess it was, who got stung by a bee and used to have a dog. Then about a woman. I took out a handkerchief and tried to use my imagination on you, and I think that brings us up to now. Oh, okay. We did the raffle, right? We did the joke about the horse. Oh, I know. Another joke. Why is a fat girl like a tiny motorcycle? Well, of course she isn't. She isn't at all. You should be disgusted with yourself for even for a second trying to think of how she might be. I'm disgusted with myself, and this makes me, act out. Lash out. Lash in, depending. But to continue, the woman, my darling from earlier, one fine week we woke to cold sores tearing through our lips. Picture that we lay in bed, me confused but not unhappy, her thinking thoughts I never knew, never will. We were so full of life, each other. Love cankers all. A pun. Thank you. She had beautiful eyes, I'm almost sure. I must have looked. And I bet she smiled, or tried to, through the cracking pain, the dryness I caused in her. It was more complicated than this, our love, plus I lied about all of it. But it was a while back, some time ago. Maybe this morning. Or even longer back. Early this morning. The old stars twinkle over the scene. No one else in sight. Bony stray dogs roam the street. Stars and dogs circle our house, us asleep in love or wide awake, one or the other. It makes you stop and think. These timeless times? How long does everything take? How long did I kiss her? That time I lost track of time. My lips red with life, saying nothing, covering her in my saliva. And how long did our little hero, who frankly I'm getting sick of, lie there in the meadow drooling, in bed or in the park, which we'll get to? Long enough, I should think. Long enough to learn something. But back to the cold sores. After all of my efforts at communication, something had passed between us. Would that I could cause in you a similar mark, a little growth, a blemish of real life. Don't think that I will, though. Any thoughts, feelings? I'm sure. Anyway, the woman and the man, myself. Good times. Except for my rotten breath, bad leg, acid lack of wit, lifelong mistrust, and other mental defects, everything was perfect. Epic romance in the aisles of all-night stores. Unaloneness. At last. The stupid clouds lift. I have not eaten so well or looked so kindly on the world. Kissing in the morning, pissing together in roomy, handicapped bathrooms of now-forgotten museums, a million little weddings. My life to this point was mishaps. I was just accidents and wrong roads before her. But then the lost was found. Happiness. Perfection with an asterisk. Yes, she found my desire a little unruly, a little too dire. Too much of an emergency. But in the intermingling of our... well, not intermingling, exactly. I don't know. We've all probably roughly had the same experience, yes? So, back to the boy, the little mistake. He's grown into a bigger mistake. Aching bones from growth spurts, furious, oily skin, shy to the point of not even really being there. He watched the parade of life go by. Drew some faulty conclusions. He said almost nothing. No one ever asked him what he was thinking, so he never really got into the habit. Though it came later, anyway. I sometimes like to think. Though that wasn't always the case. I'm thinking right now. Yeah, I am. We were the perfect height. Look at me think. We must have been so stunning. What luck to be me then. The dirty nights, the magic days at the laundromat. sharing forks, taking our clothes off, afraid of nothing. I disappeared in her, and she wondering where I went left. It's not clear what happened exactly, just so you try to just... Do you like magic? I do. I think. I'm fairly ambivalent, this love of mine. Once a moth was flying around my room. I was afraid. A yucky, flapping moth? And me? It had some effect, I'm sure. Thank you very much. End of rumination. Now, I'm going to need, not a volunteer, but a subject from the audience. Now, don't raise your hands shouting, me, though certainly I get the point. I'll choose someone. We know who you are. It'd be good if the person were wearing light clothing, if she or he spoke a second language and liked a little violence. That'd be great. So, let's see. I apologize for this. We all hate this. I know. We all hate things like this. But in order for me to fully prove my point, to really ram the thing home, I need a subject, a volunteer, really. One of you watchers. One of you lovely pounding hearts. Now, who? Or whom? I sounded like an owl just then. Anyway. How about this recent weather? You know? What a day to be outside. Yeah, I saw someone walking 8 dogs today. All so pretty, so pedigreed. Except for one ugly mutt. A runt, angry and diseased, less loved, ergo less lovable. You're paying attention. I am, because of my own pains, going to make someone else suffer without proportion. Because this is not my dream of her in lazy rivers, because I miss her leg around my neck, someone is gonna pay. The leashes were tangled. I apologize. But, so, now, our volunteer, our conscript, anyone will do, but it really does have to be someone. Who of you deserves it most? You shall join me. I see some of you are game. You know what? Skip it. Thank you, though. So, life of the little boy, now a little man, sped up and sped up. He was schooled to no effect, and left home saying only, I'm going somewhere else now. His mother wept due to an unrelated malady. His father, who is still alive, God rest his soul, waved goodbye. And so our young man, to a city. He got jobs. You might have seen him. Something close enough. He's the man waving the flag that says parking, next to a sign that says parking. He's dressed as a telephone, handing out flyers concerning telephones. He's picking up trash, eating in doorways, eyes down, an expressionless expression. He's just like you, or is you, or he isn't and doesn't like you. See the former child, hated by life, about my size, losing weight, working for shit pay, no real belongings other than a dictionary. One night, picture it a winter night, one night in a park, walking off the day's food poisoning, he came upon some vomit, vomited, and then collapsed. He wondered, as he was shivering on the freezing ground, covered in stomach fluid, saliva, and bile, if there might be, more to life. Nearby, a brightly lit skating rink. He lay there in the slush, listening to Christmas music and chirping elegies to reindeer and snow. The shivers of his childhood came, then went, then returned redoubled, and then stopped. He got up and went over to the rink, leaned on the side. Families glided by, couples, Call it the Christmas spirit. Call it a coincidence. Call it whatever you like. But suddenly, in the bright light and beautiful music, he got sick and collapsed again. The next day at the city morgue, where he was painting the bathrooms, he saw her. He felt light and sick, sad but true. High on the fumes, he watched her cry. She was perfect in her grief. A born widow, or orphan, a person of serious and recent loss. You could guess the rest, so I could leave it at that. But I'll tell you, she didn't see him. Never would. And that was the end of that. I probably shouldn't have even mentioned it. But it was a start. It's a nice looking crowd. See, we have some couples in the audience. And then came the animals, 2 by 2. Good for you. Really, good for you. Anyway, a few seasons later, picture him sitting nowhere, really a nice day. In terms of weather, reading his dictionary like a novel, skipping ahead to see if the plot picks up. Remember that the man is the boy from earlier. He is not really outfitted for this life, not properly clothed, not enough skin. He reads on absently, picking at a scab on the side of his head, staring at the word demotic. Suddenly, like a beautiful dog at the wrong door, or, no, a gentle snow in the morning, she appeared. She appears. Sometimes you look off somewhere. There's something you want to see. You expect this almost operatic moment to happen in your life. You expect something to appear, and all that's there is what was there before, and you looking. And what do? Maybe there was a raffle, and we all won. Or all lost together. I'm speaking softly now because I want to be heard. Because I want to be gentle. I want to be to my own self untrue. I continue. Here she comes. The one everyone would agree is the one. Not the widow. Not a widow, but close. Imagine a gazelle, a zebra, a giraffe. Now don't imagine any more animals. Picture a woman. God, if you could see her. Imagine he is not afraid. Imagine he has feelings. Imagine he reaches into his pocket. Pick a card, he says. There's only one, she says, demurely, womanlyly. Yeah, he says, in customary brevity, but surprising coherence. Anyone could see. Off they went. To laundromats, chapels, bathrooms, places you've heard of, been to yourself. Steps of museums, hand in hand, in hand, in hand. She would write him letters, one of which he would save. Love, period. Full stop. Probably. Unless you are very happy or have a very good imagination, you can't imagine how happy they were. They were close. Not fully there, but close. We hear the word love a lot. Throw it around. Less and less, maybe, but still a lot. The word love. Oh, we mean all sorts of things. I don't know. It's really, on this freezing. How anyone could... I don't know. Damn it. He couldn't see the story through. He did not love too much, nor too well, but with too much sweat, shit, fear, too many long words, too many commas. It seems. May every animal find its animal. Find some food, its fellow animal, a warm rock, and somewhere dark to sleep. Where are we supposed to learn about things? What happens in the little spurt? In the little time that we are, I guess, given. Maybe this will explain. Nope. I just got this from over there. I don't like magic. I'm no good at it, and I don't like it, but I do a little disappearing act. I'll need another volunteer. No, seriously, no kidding around this time. Thank you, Matt. Yeah, no, you'll do fine. Thank you. The disappearing act. Here we go. Now you've got to close your eyes. And you've got to completely trust that I'm not going to... You know, she came back to me. Sort of. I had the worst dream the other night. I'll spare you the details and the main part. But when I woke up, I went for a walk. I liked the weather. It was nice out, cold, sort of raining. I thought about the world. I liked looking in the dark windows. I just let everything come. Stopped thinking, let the words run. They came and went, disappeared, like the things they stood for. I miss her so much. I do. I do. Help me, bees, help. I'm going somewhere else now. My face was so swollen, I lay in a meadow behind her. I felt spasms. Our last. I like violins. I should have tried more. White markings above the paw. Her pretty ankles, dresses she wore. She stopped to scratch. She quivered. You only have one day. I couldn't make the matches work. I scratched behind her ears. Kissed her lips, her neck. The nest was full of bees. She said, I love you. I heard buzzing. My eyes were closed, the sun being bright. I said, I love you, and I don't want to see. I walked around. I left home. Christmas carols played. I could smell my insides. I lay there, mother weeping, father waving. I sniffed butterflies. I pissed on things. My poor face. I ate scraps. Wanted to be a cowboy. Had food poisoning. He said to me, Sarah? Mary? I didn't say anything. I thought I would get dragged on stage. I'd take things out on others. Who am I now, and what difference does it make? I took her on walks. We ran through nature. We barked at cars. He put his mouth on me, and I, being a lady, put my leg around his neck. I cut my hair half off. He hurt me. She hurt me. I bled in the night. I hurt her. I wasn't anywhere. Then I was in love. Now I'm here. You're being very patient. We might have had something together. Wouldn't that have been nice? Off go the animals, 2 by 2. Love. I was lucky in it once. Wrote a note saying, "Thank you kindly. Leaving now. Key is under the doormat." I had my reasons, none of them good. Wanted to leave before I was left. She wanted it that way, or would, eventually. Maybe. I never understand things. I was too confusing. I did everything in fear. What was I so afraid of? I had promise. Now I don't have anything anymore. I do own a dictionary. It's got synonyms in the back. Different words for the same things to make life more full. It has foreign phrases, biographical entries, things about dead people's lives. Oh, wow. I'm sorry. I thought you would have left by now. What do you want? Not to disappear, I'm sure. Then what? Shall I stroke your cheek, gently, almost not at all? Bring you a glass of water and the... Boo! Sorry. Here, have my glass of water. I'm sure your throat is dry from all the things you're never going to say. And then there's you. Don't say anything. Don't think anything. Just keep in mind how little time there is, how little time there always is. Then try to be brave. Try to be someone else, someone better. Ear. A word without definition. It's beautiful, right? Nothing to be afraid of. So the little boy, somewhat hilariously, was never able to... Boo! Sorry. Sorry again. Enough. I have to go, you have to go. Maybe somebody's waiting. Please be someone waiting. I'm done with this. Important things will happen now, I promise. Be stable. Be stable. Be stable. Be stable. Look, I know it wasn't much, but let it be enough. Do. Boo. Isn't it great to be alive?